Welcome to Living Life in Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is a global vitiligo awareness and education podcast. You will hear the true and authentic stories from people living with vitiligo. You'll also hear from their loved ones, medical professionals, licensed mental health therapists, relationship counselors, global vitiligo support foundations and organizations, and so much more. Sit back and enjoy living life and love with vitiligo. Once again, I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome to Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. And today's show, I have a very special guest, but I'm not going to introduce her. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharon King. I'm the founder and executive director of the Litty Ligo Vitiligo Community Network.
There we go. All right. And let me say this to our viewers and listeners. This is going to be, it's a serious topic. We're going to talk about vitiligo and vitiligo myths, but we're also going to have some fun. And we cut up a little bit. So as you notice, Sharon is wearing her straw hat. Can you tell us a little bit about that straw hat? And I'll tell you about these nice glasses I'm wearing.
Absolutely. So if you know me, you know I am a huge anime fan. My favorite anime is One Piece, and it's about pirates. And the name of the pirate crew, that's the main crew, are the Straw Hat Pirates. So this is Luffy's banner straw hat that he got from Shanks. So yeah, everybody should take it out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should absolutely check it out and then come talk to me about it. So yeah.
and for myself, I'm not wearing my normal glasses. I have on my Tony Starks. My brother he gave these to me about 3 years ago for Christmas. I wear them every once in a while, but I say, you know what? Sharon's gonna have on a straw hat. Let me throw on my Tony Starks. Actually, I'm not a big Iron Man fan. I'm a Captain America fan. I didn't want to put on a Captain America shirt today because we're going to do it at school tomorrow. So yeah. Now I want to double dip. People like, yeah, he had it on yesterday. But although you guys haven't seen it, you know how people are. Yes. And for the listeners, I'm a big Star Wars fan, G.I. Joe, Marvel. I don't like DC. I like Batman, but I don't like DC. That's just me. You don't like it?
I like DC cartoons. I don't like DC.
Yeah, the cartoons are great. When it comes to the movies, yeah, not so great. But that's my opinion. That's my thought. I'm a big Transformers fan. Before we get into our discussion, I saw Transformers 1 3 times. It was great.
Yes.
Yeah, the first time I didn't stay for the end credits. I was like, dang, I got to stay. And I stayed for one and didn't realize there was one more. I was like, let me go back and see it. But I saw it in 3D. And it was better in 3D. I was like,
I bet, man, because even I saw that in the theater, and I was just like, this is great. I don't know how they're gonna outdo this.
Absolutely. So yeah, we are people with vitiligo, you know, and that's right. Peep the hands out there. Sharon, throw yours up again. Say a little something because I think the camera's gonna jump to you.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there I am.
So yeah, and people with vitiligo are just like anybody else out there. We enjoy life, we enjoy living, we enjoy fun things, sports, and all that. We'll get into sports too. But what I really want you to come on so we can talk about some vitiligo myths, and kind of debunk a lot of these things because people are people, and people will make up stuff in a heartbeat. And I just want to put some things out there. We kind of talk about it, and this is how it came to my mind. For those of you out there, I have asthma. So I was talking to my specialist and we were having a conversation and she said, can I ask you a question? I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. It's about vitiligo. And I knew it, but I didn't know to what extent. She said, well, I was having a conversation with somebody. She said, I don't know a lot about vitiligo. And they said, if you have vitiligo, you can pass away from it. I was like, no. No,
that's a new one.
That was a new one. I was like, no. I said you can't pass away from vitiligo. You could pass away from stress and anxiety, severe anxiety and depression, and all these things can make your body shut down. But vitiligo doesn't do that. I said, no, vitiligo can't kill me. I'm good. She said, well, I didn't know, and I wanted to ask you since I knew somebody. I said, yeah, people are going to have all types of myths, and we got into the topic of that. I said, I want to talk about that on my show. So I went and did some research, and I have quite a few. And some of these we already know. I mean,
Yep.
we hear them all the time.
Yep.
The big one, Sharon, is vitiligo contagious?
No, vitiligo is not contagious.
Wait a minute. So you mean I can't just walk up to somebody and be like, hey, what's your name? Touch them and give them vitiligo?
No, that can't happen. This is not a TV show. You don't just, touch somebody and do the venom thing and it just the symbiote over your body. No, that's not what happens. You cannot catch
Wait a minute.
vitiligo.
So you're trying to tell me?
First of all, you can't catch vitiligo.
Right. So are you trying to tell me that vitiligo didn't cause The Walking Dead?
Remember my Sephora story? The lady did say, what's it called, leprosy. So
right.
I mean, but yeah, no.
Look, and I know some people are gonna say, well, it's not funny. Well, there are times you have to laugh at people because people are ignorant when they shouldn't be, because you have technology. You have access to information to learn about anything you want to learn about. And if you don't do it, you're going to be ignorant, and we're going to be laughing at you because you're going to say something stupid. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. You're going to say something really dumb.
You are. You're going to say something that's going to make me do that smirk. And I'm just going to be like, no, that's not it. I mean, like, and then also I feel like when you hear those things at first, you're kind of in shock. Like back to the Sephora story. I go back to that. And the reason why I made light of that is because I had to say everything that I wanted to say, but I was too flabbergasted. When somebody says, don't you have leprosy? It's kind of like, I can't believe you just said that.
Right.
So I'm going to react like this and then probably think about it for the rest of the day, which is exactly what happened. Yeah.
And let's talk about that. Leprosy is a disease. You can read about it all in the Bible, and it is contagious and it's deadly. All these things happen with sores and all that. Sorry, I don't have any open sores unless I bump into something and get a cut and it heals, but I cannot spread vitiligo. It can spread on my skin, but I can't touch people and be like, you're turning white now. It doesn't work that way.
It's very funny.
What?
You're white now.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
But that's the mentality of people. And I saw something on Facebook, and it was an article, and I wrote the person. They never wrote back, but it said vitiligo is white leprosy. White leprosy. Leprosy is just leprosy. Vitiligo is vitiligo. They're two different things. So I wrote back and I sent some information about vitiligo. I said, maybe you need to educate yourself before you start putting articles out there about a skin condition obviously you don't know about. However, I do understand in some parts of the world they do see vitiligo as leprosy, but no, it's not. It is not. It is not.
It is not leprosy. And then I also feel like a lot of people use stuff like that for clickbait.
Right.
You'll put up this sensational title and hope that people click it. And it's like, was it really worth it? Like, there's so many things. Like, there's somebody who's advertising like this whole cure and thing. And I had to literally be like, please don't purchase this.
Right.
Like, you're not going to find a cure from a Facebook ad. I promise you that. Okay.
And you know what's even crazy? I was on AliExpress, however you want to call it. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all go buy stuff all the time. And now there's a cure for vitiligo on AliExpress. I'm like, seriously? I want to write so bad, like, yo, there's no cure. Don't buy that stuff. It'll probably make your earlobe fall off or something. I mean, don't buy stuff off the internet like that. First of all, there's no cure.
Right.
There are treatments. A treatment is to be used for a long period of time or a short period of time. It is to treat it, not to cure it, because there's no cure.
Right. I like to call them medical interventions. That's my fancy name for them.
There we go. Now, in this one, they talked about vitiligo being contagious, and I did some research. It was some stuff from Pfizer and WebMD and a couple other places that I pulled together. And let people know that vitiligo cannot be passed through touch. You can't get it through saliva. You can't kiss somebody and turn white. The last time I saw that was in the X-Men when Rogue kissed somebody and drained all his skin and he turned white and all this. I mean, like, come on, y'all. She didn't drain the skin, but drained all his life force. He turned white. Vitiligo does not do that. I mean,
we're not trying to drain your life force, people. We promise.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. If a person with vitiligo gives blood, I give blood all the time. I'm not going to turn you white by taking blood from somebody with vitiligo. It does not work that way. I mean, guys, come on. I mean, it's just these weird things, and you can't inhale vitiligo. These are all things that people, I guess, have put out there.
Wait! You can't inhale vitiligo.
You cannot inhale vitiligo, people. You can't walk next to somebody and be like,
"Oh, vitiligo,
it's vitiligo."
Like, oh my! Well, like you got to laugh to keep yourself from crying sometimes,
right?
Because it's like, what do you mean?
So I feel like if these companies are putting out this information to debunk these myths, that means somebody has asked that question. Can you breathe vitiligo? Like, my skin is not going to flake off. I could be ashy, but if I'm ashy, it's not going to flake off and getting into your system and you start turning white. Look.
How'd you get vitiligo? You know, I inhaled some vitiligo ash, you know, it was in there. So, like, what are we talking about?
Oh boy. Well,
that's funny.
Look, but people are unique. That's the way I'm going to put it. They are unique. I use that term at school sometimes. They are unique in the way they see the world and process. And also, you cannot get it from having intercourse. I mean, you can get other things by having intercourse, but not vitiligo. That doesn't transfer in that way. Not to get deep into that, but there have been questions like, what happens when you get vitiligo? Well, yeah, body parts, they still work. They just have no color. I mean, that's all. Like, we could still have kids and you name it. Like, I don't understand people in their mindsets. So
you can still, you know, yes.
Yeah. Yes, it works. Yeah. And I think that's where the ignorance comes into play, because they think because you have vitiligo, your body stops functioning. No, like, our bodies still function. If I want to go work out, I can still build muscle. If I want to go play sports, I can still run. Vitiligo doesn't stop you from doing anything at all. It makes you look different to the world. That's it. It makes you look different, but it doesn't make you different. It makes you look different. That's all. We are just like everybody else. We're crazy. We're fun. We're silly at times. We're serious at times. You got some of us that are very angelic in their approach, and you got some of us that will cuss you out in a heartbeat. I mean, we're people. Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
And I think that's attributed to the stigma surrounding disability in general. You know, right. People see, you know, first of all, the word disability, it basically means like you don't have the ability, but that's not true. It just means that you are differently abled, you know. You know, the conversation that I often have about vitiligo being a disability because your body is unable to produce the melanocytes to completely protect your dermis. So that is a disability, but hey, one monkey don't stop no show. Okay. No. I'm still doing me, and you know, like I said, that's a lot of disability, you know, whether it be mental, physical. Yes, you are able to do it, you just may have to do it differently. For example, being in the sun, everybody should wear, you know, sun protection, but we gotta wear sun protection if we don't want to burn. So, you know, because we're gonna burn. So yeah.
You know, I was just having that conversation with a friend of mine, and she was asking me about a lot of questions about vitiligo. One was offensive, and I'll get to that one in a few minutes, but about being out in the sun. She loves the beach and all that. Can you go to the beach? I said I can, but I have to be mindful of how long I'm out in the sun. My body my skin doesn't burn easily unless I'm out there for hours, but I don't want to test that theory anymore. So after a certain amount of time, I'm like, let me get out the sun. I always wear sunscreen and have to reapply it. I do notice like my regular skin, meaning the non-vitiligo skin, it tans quickly. But of course, when you don't have melanocytes, it just stays white. I had to take my watch off because when I do that, it looks like my hand disappears and it's just a hand floating in the air. So, these silly things that happen on the screen.
I think that would be a cool attribute. The phantom vitiligo hair. Just
ooh, here we go. There it is. The phantom vitiligo hand here.
Oh, I see it. That's funny. That's very funny.
And it's October too, so it'd be great. See, now you got me thinking. I might have to come back and at the end of this month and have some great vitiligo stories. But yeah, you know what, Sharon, this is crazy. I'm looking like there's that weird vitiligo hand. For the viewers and listeners, look, we are silly at times. And, although I can be very serious and have a deep conversation, no, I like to be silly. And when it comes around to being around other adults, I work with kids all day. So after a while, I want to be silly with adults. It's different when you get to be silly with kids, but with adults, we can be cut up too, Vitiligo people like jokes. So in talking to my friend, the insulting part, she says, well, your vitiligo around your mouth and I've said this on another podcast, she said, this is two different incidences. She said, it looks ashy. I'm like, it's not ashy. It's just because you can see it peek outside of my mustache and facial hair. And I said, no, it's just, she said, but that's when I first looked at it, that's what I thought. I'm like, you know what? It is not ashy. But I did say this on the other podcast with Rela. I said, vitiligo skin does get ashy. You got to put lotion on. I mean, it's skin. All people,
just like skin, it gets dry.
Let me say this. All people in this world should put on lotion because all skin gets ashy no matter what color it is. All of it.
And my thing is this. If she in fact thought it was ash, why didn't she offer you no lotion, no chapstick, no, hey, you a little dry around your mouth? If that's right. What she thought.
But that did happen with a coworker, and I've told that story many times, where she offered in the wintertime, put some lotion inside your mouth, and like, no, they ain't going nowhere. But I'll take it, but still, and horrible dating story. We're gonna get to some of these other ones. Speaking of that, I remember being on a dating site, and some woman sent me a message, not, hey, how you doing, and blah, blah, blah. It's, what's wrong with your mouth?
Like,
my first response wasn't a pleasant one. However, I said, okay, I have vitiligo, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I have facial hair. That's what the white part is. But I'm like, can you use a little tack? I mean, ain't nothing wrong with my mouth. I don't have the white mouth. No, back in the days we used to say that. Somebody got the white mouth.
Somebody got the white mouth with the corner in the corner. The teachers used to have it. I had one. He used, man,
But that's when you get that napkin. You be like, let me get that, take care of that. But yeah, all right. Another one is vitiligo is caused by certain foods. They didn't say what foods, but some people are saying, hey, and I've seen people online do that. You got to watch your diet. You can't eat this type of food. You can't eat that. You can't eat that. But they said there's no link between vitiligo and diet. What are your thoughts about that?
I do feel like certain foods can exacerbate it. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I've had that experience personally, for the viewers and listeners that aren't familiar with me, I used to have vitiligo on about 70% of my face.
Right.
And I noticed that once I was diagnosed with a stomach condition that caused me to change my diet, I did notice a significant repigmentation when I removed a lot of sugar, especially processed sugars, and red meat. Like I stopped eating a bunch. I love a good steak, so I can't give it up completely, but I eat significantly less red meat. Right. So I think there is a correlation. but I just think we just don't know what it is yet. I don't think it can cause it, but I absolutely do think if you have a bad diet, I feel like it can, in my case though, it definitely exasperated.
Right.
But I think that's also, it's so different with everybody, you know, because you have different types and different body makeups and different things. So I feel like that's a no, but kind of like
right. And you're right. It depends on, I think, your body type. And I know some people I know can't consume certain types of meat, and it impacts their body in different ways, where I might throw down or whatever and I'm good, you know. So just with my vitiligo, I don't think it has spread because of what I'm eating. It's the stress I'm dealing with, you know, the emotional aspect of certain things in life, you know, has made it spread even to now. You know, there's some things that happened in my life recently, you know, my dad passing. I'm starting to notice, ooh, I'm getting a little spread over here, getting more little spots over here. So I think it's just the emotional aspect. But it is something to be aware of and be mindful. Like, if you're eating certain foods, are you noticing more spread? You know,
right.
so we keep an eye out on that one. Let's go back to the magic of vitiligo. It can be cured.
Vitiligo cannot be cured currently. Okay, not right now. Not right now.
Right, not right now.
There are amazing doctors, amazing organizations and foundations that are working tirelessly to get to the root cause, because you can't get to the cure without the cause. So, you know, I feel like that's a lot of where research is. But no, there is no cure. There are treatments, medical interventions, you know, whatever you want to call them. There are a lot of those, actually. I can say that there are a lot more coming, which is great, you know, to have more choices than your typical, because I feel like everybody has the same experience. You got the creams, you try the creams don't work.
Yeah.
Do the light box, you decide if the light box is an undertaking you want to do, and if you don't, then the next step was either, you know, you cover up or you accept or whatever. Now you know, you have Operalerza, you have, you know, there's other stuff coming out for younger kids that they're testing for now and stuff like that. So where there is no cure, there are a bunch of different ways and aspects to cope and live. And I think that is very important.
Absolutely. And as we know, the Science Brothers are working on it right now. So that's Tony Stark and Bruce Banner. So they're going to come up with some special vitiligo cure. And when they find it out, I don't know if I'll take it, but I'll say, hey, I got a friend over here that wants to try this new cure. But no, seriously, guys, there's no Bruce Banner and Tony Stark working on this. But there is Dr. Harris and a few others that are working on it, like real doctors that we know that are working on some options. And I know I was reading one of Dr. Harris's papers, and he was very close to finding a cure. However, it caused some other health issues, and he did not want to do that to a community. Oh, I can fix your skin, but this is going to happen to you. No, you know, or excuse me, not fixed. Our skin doesn't need to be fixed, but to heal and bring back your melanocytes and your color. There we go. That's the proper way of saying it.
Can we talk about sidetrack just a little and talk about the importance of how you talk and speak about not only your only vitiligo, but just vitiligo in general, you know, because I think that's important, you know, when parents take their kids to the doctors and say, can you fix her? You know, that mentally can really, you know, I appreciate my mom a lot for being like, we're going to go with what she wants to do. Like, you know, and not saying, no, you're going to do this because we got to fix all of that that's going on with your skin. And you know, you and I both heard that a couple of times, you know, so I think, you know, I always like to chime on it whenever there is an opportunity that, yes, your words matter, how you view yourself matters, and how you view vitiligo absolutely matters. You know, you see what's going on. You talk about eating the cats and dogs. All it took was one person in the world talk about eating cats and dogs and stuff. See, this is word.
And for my viewers out there, don't go around saying that people with vitiligo eating cats and dogs, and that's what happened. Don't do that. Don't do that. It don't work that way. No,
it don't work that way.
No,
it does not work.
And speaking of that, you talk about what you say, and yes, you could fix a car, you can fix a shelf. But yeah, vitiligo doesn't need fixing. Our melanocytes need to return back to our skin. Yeah, let's bring that back. But
Right.
how, oh gosh, I've heard this. Not necessarily on my end, but I've talked to a lot of people with vitiligo through other podcasts, and somebody had mentioned that they were told because of their sins that they got vitiligo from the church. And let me say this: if that's the case, everybody in this world will have vitiligo. We all will be spotted and blotched and colored and discolored and all colors and universal and you name it, because we all sin. We all have done something wrong. Every last one of us, whether it's you just cursed somebody out, whether you stolen something, whether you thought something, maybe, you did something out of wedlock, things happen. We've all done something, but vitiligo has nothing, this is what I'm going to say, has nothing to do with your religion. It is a skin condition that happens. It can happen to anybody. You could be the pastor in the church, and then next thing you know, you could develop vitiligo. You could be the most righteous person on this earth right now. I've never done anything. I've never drunk anything. I never smoked anything. I've never done this. And you can develop vitiligo. It happens, It doesn't make you a bad person because you have developed the skin condition. And we don't call it a condition right now, because if I was sitting in front of my doctor, I'd be like, disease, give me some help, but because it's us, there's that mystery hand again. It is, we're going to say condition, but guys, we have some of the most kind-hearted, just sweet people in our community that will help anybody. And they have vitiligo. It has nothing to do with who they are as a person. It's Absolutely. One of those things. I often say, since we're getting very nerdy here, and I asked one of the doctors, and I don't know if he knew I was getting that. I said, do you think there's a gene that lies within all of us, but it only comes out in certain people at certain times in their lives, or something triggers it, kind of like the X-Men? I said, because it's interesting that it can just randomly happen. And y'all haven't figured out, have you ever really looked at the genes, looking at DNA and see what is happening? Maybe it's a little gene that lies right there. And all of a sudden, if I develop claws, then I know it's definitely that. I mean, X-Men or something, be Wolverine. Call me, what was I going to call it? Vitiligo or something? Come with some little claws.
Is funny.
Oh, man. But, it's one of those things. You're curious, you're fascinated, but people are going to say all types of stuff. And unfortunately, the more religious you are, sometimes you will get into the whole thing of, well, you sin, so your vitiligo is a sin. No, it's not. Don't do that to us. Don't do that to us.
Right.
I got my vitiligo because of the kids in my classroom. No, I'm kidding. No, I didn't. don't think that the kids did not give me vitiligo. However, I have
kids.
I have said that to a student. The student was like, what happened to your skin? I said, well, what happened was I had a group of students that didn't listen. Every time they didn't listen, my skin started turning white. For real? No, come on. You're 9. You know better than that. Don't fall for that.
You better than me, because I would have been like, yes.
No, I don't use that. But I do tell them I have bio-enhanced camouflage. Like, what's that? I said I was born with this natural camouflage, and I can blend in with black and white people. They're like, wow, that is so cool. Now on the screen, they just don't know I can make my hand float. I'm gonna keep coming back to that.
Ooh,
I know. Ooh, his hand just grabbed him. Oh, okay. All right. So we talked about cures and stuff. We know there are therapies and everything. Vitiligo, one of the myths, is only noticeable on the face and hands.
That's not true. I mean, it's not true. First of all, if you have it on your legs and your feet and your ankles, you got your ankles and your legs and your feet out, you're gonna see it. Like, it's noticeable wherever it is with your body out. Like, what do you mean?
I mean,
it's most notable because I noticed that people's eyes. It's funny when they see me, even when it was on my face, their eyes didn't go to my face. Their eyes always go to my hands, always, because they don't have to make eye contact with you, but they still look and inspect and feel like we're not knowing what's going on.
Right.
You know, so I do feel like it's more noticeable on your hands and face because
Right.
those are the two places that people look first, I think. But no, it's noticeable everywhere you have it. If you have
Right.
it, you got your skin.
That was a question I was asked before. And I'm going to say this for people out here who are watching and listening. If you have vitiligo, some people do have it just on their face. Some maybe just on their hands. But some of us that are generalized, or it's all over. Yes, it's all over. Let me say that. It's all over.
All over.
The spots. And there's nothing we can do about it. Like, you just wear your badge of honor wherever you're going to go. And like Sharon said, if skin is exposed and you have vitiligo, yeah, it's more noticeable when you can on the hands and face because you can hide other parts of the body. But if you wear shorts, you're going to see it on your legs, and if you have on sandals, you can see it on your feet. If let's say for a man is wearing swim trunks, he don't have a shirt, you're going to see it on his upper body. Ladies that wear bikinis, if you're going out to the beach, you're going to see it on their body, maybe back, midsection, whatever. Those who decide to become intimate with people, yeah, you're gonna see it.
You gonna see it?
Unless you turn off the lights, but vitiligo skin glows a little bit. It's weird.
You're gonna see it.
Yeah, it is the weirdest thing. I talked about this before. Going to play laser tag with kids. I always mention this. The black light was on. The kids are like, "Ooh, your skin is glowing." And I look down at my legs. I'm like, "Dang, I can't even hide it."
Just glowing everywhere. Can't hide it. Just glowing everywhere.
It's just there. You know, it is unique though when you get to the point that you can accept it. Not to say you enjoy having vitiligo, but once you get to the point where you're living your life and then you recognize this is what I have, this is my condition, you can look at those things and laugh. You know, I often talk about teaching, you know, and we still have not overhead projectors, but they call it something else. You know, I still call it overhead, but there's a fancier name for it. And I slid some paper under it, and my hands went under it, you know, and it was magnified. And I was like, oh man, that is so cool. And I'm looking at it, and, you know, and take my hands out, and the kids look like, what are you doing, Mr. Braxton? I'm like, oh, I'm looking at my hands, look. But it gave me a chance to look at it up close, although I can look at it like this, but when you see it magnified, you see the hair follicles and the indentures in your skin and the differences with like the little edges. I'm like, that is so cool. I'm cool. It's just one of those things. Not everybody's at that place where you can truly embrace what your skin is doing, what your body's doing. But we hope people can get to sort of get there. You know, it is a very uncomfortable place at some point. And I still have my moments, you know.
Absolutely. And I feel like everybody does. You know, to me, I definitely do have some moments sometimes, you know, but healing is a journey, you know, and it's just like anything else. It's something that is going to keep going and keep going. There, I don't feel like there's no final place. Like here I am completely healed. Like, you know, I don't think there is that. I do think there are, you know, there are dips and there are highs and there are lows. And, you know, there are times where you love your vitiligo and you celebrate it. There are times where you kind of wish you're like, I mean, it would be nice to be all one color one day, you know, but, you know, like you said, like, as long as you know, like you can regulate that, you know. I feel like that comes with a self-awareness of, yes, I have vitiligo, but vitiligo doesn't have me. Yes, people are going to ask me questions. If I prepare myself for said questions, you know, like for me, I know how I'm going to react to questions. I know how I'm going to react to disrespect. I know how I'm going to react, you know. For the most part, I kind of have a generalized. There's some things that still catch me off guard to this day,
right?
You know. But, you know, you have to manage it, you know, highs, lows. You have a community here. So when you are going through stuff, you have us here to be like, I went through this. Somebody's going to be like, I went through this too. Let me tell you what I did. Let me tell you what I did. Let me tell you what I would do. You know, all of that. I think it all helps. I think if you have that, it makes the journey that much easier.
Right. And you know, life is interesting because I've had that moment. I'm like, oh man, I'm good. I'm accepting my vitiligo. I'm cool. I'm on top of the world. And then Next thing you know, they kicked the chair out front of me and I fell on my butt. It's like, I'm not good. You know, it's those moments.
Yep.
I can say, okay, man, it's hot. I'm gonna throw on some shorts. I'm good. I'm gonna rock my shorts today. Get outside and be like, I'm gonna put on my jeans. You know, it's those moments. Like it can hit you at any point. Or I'm already out in public and I got on my shorts. I'm feeling good and get in the store. And that one person, I'm gonna find that person. I know they're out there somewhere watching. They give me that look.
Right.
And I'm looking like, oh man, you know, do I give him that look back, or do I keep pressing? And I might keep pressing, but then when I get to the car, I'm like,
I'm childish because I definitely I match energy very much. Like if your face looks like my face is gonna look like okay. Like, you can take it there. But no, I'm not saying that's not. Sometimes I think it's better to just walk away.
Yeah. Sometimes
there's a lot of the times. And when I say a lot of the times, it is not even worth it. There's some people you're not going to get through to, and that's okay. Yeah. Some people need to live in their ignorance. That's not your problem.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things we talked about earlier was just when people notice your face first versus your hands, or notice your hands sometimes. The worst thing for me is, you know, as men, we shake hands. You go to shake hands with somebody and they give you that weak, I'm going to say punk handshake.
Right. Or that hesitant. They're like,
yeah. Like,
and it's like, don't, you know what? Keep your little handshake then.
Yeah. No, that's like, come here. Grip them up. then you put it all over.
Yeah.
They be like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm going to give you all that vitiligo. Because you know some people
right. Bring it in, brother. Bring it in. Like,
hold on, put some over here. Because you know some people are afraid because they don't know, and I get it. But at the same time, don't be ignorant. Now, I did have that, you know, for people that don't know, I'm a Sigma and Phi Beta Sigma, Blue Phi, all the good stuff. Went back to my homecoming, you know, some new guys had just crossed and everything. I was hanging out with some of my, you know, some of the old cats in the yard. And the new guy coming up, giving everybody the grip, and got to me and looked at my hands. He was like, I was like, for real? Like,
you're supposed to be a brother.
Yeah. My first thought was punch him in the face. I mean, really, that's how I felt, because it was so disrespectful. But I said, this guy is not comfortable with me. And I'm feeling some type of way because I felt disrespected. But I had to let it go. And I was like, man, I'm going home, man. I don't feel like dealing with this mess. I did. I was like, let me go do something else. So I went riding around the city, blast my music. But it's one of those things like people sometimes feel that men don't feel emotions when it comes to vitiligo. Oh, man, we do. And first thing we're going to do, we're going to go hide.
Okay, another myth that needs to be busted is that, like, people say that, women handle vitiligo, or no, men handle vitiligo better than women. And it's like, well, they are under the societal pressures. They can't cover up.
Right.
Let a man, you know, well, they can. You absolutely can. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
But typically, a man is not going to put on a full face of cover and you know, feel comfortable being out in the world, especially if you're around men who will call you out for that, because we all know that, you know, men and women for that. So I don't think it's easier for either sex. It's traumatic either way.
Right.
You know, I think it's just more normal for women to wear makeup than it is for men. So it's easier for women to cover than for men to cover.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense.
And you know, it's funny. I knew someone, actually, besides Terrell, but I knew someone from my church. I didn't know he had vitiligo. I knew his skin looked different, but he wore makeup. And I knew he was an older gentleman, but his self-esteem wasn't quite, I felt like it wasn't quite there.
Right.
And I didn't know why. Not until later, my parents were telling me, did you know such and such had vitiligo too? I didn't know that because he always wore makeup. I think he even wore it on his hands, and that's why his skin looked a little different. And I start to think about, did we ever shake hands? You know, things like that, small things. Men struggle with feeling comfortable. You know, we struggle sometimes with wanting support or asking for support. We know we got to try to live, but there are times that we need it. We need that support. We need that help, but we get afraid. I was one of those dudes. I did not want support. I needed it. I did not want support. And I remember being ridiculed by someone I was dating when I told her, I said, I'm going to reach out to a vitiligo community for support. She was like, well, why? Why would you do that? Blah, 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 blah. You know, I said, because I feel like I need some extra help with this condition. You know, it doesn't make sense. It sounds like AAA meeting and all this stuff. Or
and if
A,
it
you
did,
know, and then she said, well, um, what did she say? Like, do they have doctors? Do they have therapists? And at the time, I knew nothing about the community. You know, I just assumed, yeah, there's got to be some type of help somewhere. And had I listened to her, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would
absolutely.
still have been stuck because I was stuck. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. Um, I was really covering up. Like I had sweaters that were really big, so I could pull them all the way down to my fingertips, so you couldn't see my hands. And you know, I wouldn't go anywhere. I didn't want to wear shorts. All these things I was dealing with because I wasn't comfortable. And I feel like had I listened to her, I would have been stuck, and maybe still stuck to this day. I don't know, but taking that risk, and that's what I'm saying for like men and women. Take a risk and be vulnerable to come around the community to share and talk because we have similar stories. We understand what it's like to feel different in that community or to go somewhere and be the only one with vitiligo. So of course you're going to stand out. It's life, you know. Um, so with that, one of the myths that they had up there is that vitiligo is a sign of mental and physical disorders.
So I've heard that. I've heard that vitiligo is a manifestation of what you got going on in your body. And so this is another one that I feel is kind of like, no, but kind of, you know, I feel like my vitiligo is definitely exasperated when I was going through something like,
Right.
for example, when my son's father and I decided to end our relationship, my vitiligo came back like a pimple attack. Like it absolutely came back, was like boo, boo, boo,
Yeah.
everywhere, you know, and that was because of the anxiety and depression and everything and the stress of just the
Right.
change and, you know, having a young kid and all that stuff. So I feel like yes and no, we still need to figure out exactly what that correlation is. You know, I think, you know, from some of the symposiums that I've been to, I do think, you know, I feel like they've been talking about like cortisol, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do think there is correlation, but I don't think that there is enough information to say vitiligo is, because if
Right.
that's the case, again, just like you said with sin, a bunch of people, everybody would have
Right.
vitiligo everywhere if it was in fact a manifestation. So I do think that if you have vitiligo, it does kind of serve as a beacon a bit for me.
Yeah.
Again, I can only speak personally, and I always say disclaimer, this is just my experience. That's why I don't like to
Right.
give advice about like how I repigmented, because this is just my body. But I do know for me, that definitely, yes, like, you know, with everything going on with my dad, vitiligo has been popping up again, you know,
Yeah.
but I've noticed that now that things have been a little bit more regular and we're getting into a groove, it's starting to ramp down. So
Yeah.
no, but kind of.
I get it. I get it. And I had a conversation with another gentleman in the community on one of my other podcasts, and we talked about the emotional aspect of dealing with situations. I know they say a lot of times stress, and we think physical stress. You know, yeah, you can punch me. Of course, I might get a little bit like a spot. Yeah. But what's going on internally in my mind and my soul and everything else could manifest itself into vitiligo spots. Um, and I've noticed that. I paid attention to that, especially during COVID. I looked down, I had all the little confetti vitiligo all over because of emotionally what I'm going through. I think about when my vitiligo started spreading. It was an emotional time in my life, you know, going through some a rocky marriage and things. Um, And even now, I haven't paid enough attention to find out if it's still spreading more because of my dad passing. So I don't know. But I also try to keep my emotions in check a bit. It's okay to, be emotional and feel things, but I also try not to let it consume me because I feel
Absolutely.
like once it consumes me, then I'm going to see more vitiligo spots.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Now, on that, I've heard this, and we're getting close to some to the end point of this because we have some good conversations. Vitiligo only affects people with dark skin.
I was waiting for this one.
You know that one was going to come up.
I knew it. I was like, I don't know where it is on this list, but I know it's gonna come up. So this is like for me, outside of the contagious thing, this for me is the biggest myth that I deal with. I have made TikToks. I have made, I've educated many people when I talk about white people or people of fairer skin having vitiligo because they're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And it's like, yes, it's not as visible on some because they are, lighter and they're closer to, that complexion. But, when you see someone with a universal vitiligo, you'll see that, yes, everyone has melanin, everyone, just some of us have more. So yes, vitiligo is 100% going to be more visible on darker skinned people. However, on the other hand, and I also, this kind of ties into the conversation of who has it worse, because everybody loves comparing about who has it worse. It's not who has it worse, it's just the trauma is different. For people of color, it's not something that you can hide unless you cover. If you are fair skinned, though, you pretty much live 9 months out of the year and you're fine. But come that summertime, son, it becomes very defined. Then you have to have these conversations and you have to figure out cover and all this stuff. So that's just a different type of having to deal with it, So, I that myth is always very, very funny to me. But yeah, I have a TikTok. I literally have people with fairer skin with their vitiligo because people don't. They don't
know. It's like I've had Monica from the Czech Republic on the show, and she talked about that. Like in the wintertime, she can go without people really noticing her vitiligo, but in the summer when she gets a tan, it shows up. And I think we get into this mindset that Caucasian people don't have melanin. They do. They may not have as much as we do, but they do.
That's a big myth. They don't. It's like, no, everyone has melanocytes. They're put there to protect the skin that vitiligo is showing. So yes, everybody has it.
And I don't like when we get into the whole light skin versus dark skin with the black people. Oh, you light skin, so you don't have to deal with vitiligo. Yeah, I'm light skinned, but if you notice, you can still see a difference. I mean,
if you see it, you see
color, no color, color, no color. I can't hide it. Like in the wintertime, guess what? It still look the same, color, no color. It's just, I think it's ignorant on behalf of sometimes us, in our community, because we'll do that to each other. Because I've been told before I didn't have enough vitiligo, and I was like, wow, how much vitiligo am I supposed to have? Like, is there a rule? Like, did the doctor say, well, if you have about 20%, then now you have vitiligo. But anything below that, no, you don't. No. If he says I have a spot, or she says I have a spot on my hand and it's vitiligo, that's what it is.
Right. You can't kinda have vitiligo.
No.
There's no kinda.
And the thing is, when you have vitiligo, it's what causes these white patches. You don't know how much melanocytes you're going to lose. I have no idea. Today, I could be this complexion. Tomorrow, next week, I could be completely white. It's just how it works. And they don't understand it. There's some people that just developed vitiligo and they've lost pretty much almost all of their melanocytes. I've had it for such a long time. It is moving slow, but it's still moving. It's like, hold on, let me get the hand. It's like this. It's moving slow, but it's still moving. That means I'm still losing those melanocytes. And everybody's immune system is different. The way it attacks our body is going to be different. Where it attacks your body is going to be different. How it attacks your body is going to be different. I think, is it Justin in our community? I think it's Justin that has just the vitiligo on one side of his mustache and beard. Is that Justin?
No, Josh.
Gosh, you know what? I know it was a J, and I think I said it wrong on another podcast. I might have said Justin, but it's Josh. Yes, it is so cool because it attacks just on one side. Like vitiligo can do what it wants to do. It can make your hair all white. You can have a patch right here or just on your shoulder. It's gonna do what it wants to do, but it doesn't care what your skin color is. None of that matters.
None of that
You
matters.
know, and let me say this for people that are watching. It is not a black person's skin disease, skin condition. It is not just black people. No, it can affect anybody around the world, regardless of who you're gonna vote for. Don't eat no cats, dogs, people. Regardless of your religion, or non-religion, regardless of whether you like music or don't like music, whether you can dance or not. I don't care about none of that. If you got money, don't care. You broke, still don't care. Vitiligo is going to affect whoever it wants to affect when it happens. And we just hope that people that are going through this change, because it is a change, that you get support and help. It is a change that you can't stop. Nothing you can do about it. You can't go, oh, you hold your wrist and you're going to cause the circulation and vitiligo will stop. No, it don't work that way.
I remember one time because when I was in middle school and I was really into basketball and I had rolled my ankle and I literally went to church and tried to pray that ankle away. Okay. I tried my best. I'm like, please, 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 please. I want to play tomorrow. Let this ankle de-swell. Amen. Mind you, I had on heels. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't you can't pray it away.
No.
You can't pray it away.
It has to do what it's got to do in time. Everything in time. And I'm going to be honest. And I think a lot of us in the community have done this. We prayed the vitiligo away. Lord, take this vitiligo away. I don't want to have vitiligo. Don't give it to my kids. Don't do this. Lord, whatever it is, I'll do better. And it's like, Lord, you gave me another spot. Come on now. You're not listening to me. Come on, take this off my hands. I want to be normal.
Right.
But I am normal.
Right.
Go ahead.
I think who was it? Andre is the one that came up with the 5 stages of grief. That's the bargaining aspect of it, where you're like, all right, if I get it here, but not here, and if you take it away here, it'll be fine. And that's all very normal too. I feel like everybody in a sense has had some variation of that conversation. Like, all right, if you don't spread too much, it'll be all right. And if it goes back by this time, I'll be fine. Like,
Right. And I've even said, because somebody asked me, because I started talking about I'm getting more spread underneath my neck. I had one spot for probably 30 years, one, and now it's starting to spread. They said, well, how would you feel if it spread more on your face? I said, I don't know, but it's a reality. I've accepted this can happen.
Right.
And I have to figure out, what do I do? What tools do I use to make sure I'm managing whatever comes with it? Anxiety, more depression, whatever. I have to figure out what I need to do. But at the same time, I can't sit here every day going, is it going to happen today? Is it going to happen tomorrow? No, I just need to keep living my life, and teach my students and take care of my family and things like that. I just got to keep pressing forward. And when that time comes, make sure I seek the support I need, talk to my therapist and all these things. Because change is hard for anybody, even if we pretend like we're good. I'm good. You don't know bother me. I'm a man, I'm behind closed doors crying. Oh, my skin done changed again. It happens. It happens, There are times I look at my feet are white. Yeah, people, my feet are white. I don't need to wear socks. They're just white. But I look at my feet like, dang, when did it get white? Like, I can't tell you. I can't tell you when it happened. I just know over time they just turning white. Now I look at my legs like, I guess you're next. My hands, they're getting whiter. And I'm like, oh, okay, but I still got to live. When I'm hungry, I want to go get something to eat. There's a movie out, I'm gonna go see a movie. If I want to go to a festival, I want to do certain things, I'm still gonna do it. I'm not gonna allow this condition to stop me, and I'm not gonna allow the people out there who look at me like, ooh, I'm not gonna allow them to stop me.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they are looks. Like, yes, that you're gonna get stupid questions, you're gonna get ignorant questions, you're gonna get looks, you're gonna get a bunch of that. But like honestly, I mean, I have heard, unfortunately, stories of, yes, people getting physically attacked
Yeah,
because, because of the culture or the
right.
religion or, you know, but for the most part, all people have is their ignorance. And
Yeah.
honestly, when you like, there's been times when people have been trying to be ignorant, and I match energy in a way that's appropriate, so like a lady had tried to scoot by, try to scoot away from me on the train, and I'm like, is there something wrong with the seat? And she got so red and
Mm,
so flabbergasted and then left the car. But it's like, no, you just had all that audacity
yep.
a second ago. Keep that same energy. But like, it's these people will have as much power as you give them.
Right.
And it's a process. Nobody's expecting you to be able to, for me, it took me literally took me 20 years to be able to have a conversation about vitiligo
Right.
without all my spots turning beet red, you know. But it's a process. And if you kind of teach yourself and teach yourself how to deal with these things that are inevitably going to happen, you'll deal with it better. I'm not going to say you'll be
Right.
cured, you'll be fine, but you'll deal with it better, and you'll learn what your style is
Right.
of dealing with it.
And something you said, and now we're gonna get close to wrapping up. Beet red. People, we don't have any color to keep the redness from showing underneath our skin. Vitiligo, my kids will be like, Mr. Braxton, your skin red. I know. That, there's blood underneath there, and all that stuff runs. There's nothing keeping my skin from turning red. I don't have no color to protect it. It happens. Yes, vitiligo skin is white, but it will turn red.
Red.
Yeah.
My lips have swollen up and turned red because I decided to be outside because I have my protective sunscreen,
Right.
and I decided that I'm grown and I'm gonna be outside without my protective sunscreen and come back with blistered big red lips looking crazy for a couple days having the ice.
Oh
So
Lord. And let me say this for people out there, like if you feel like vitiligo is so much of a issue for you and a sin, and you feel like you're gonna jump somebody with vitiligo, I'm gonna say this: you're gonna mess around and find out, because there's some people in our community that we might be on the edge, and you're gonna get hurt. So be careful how you approach people. We got people that can fight. I mean, we're people. You got people that might be a little on the edge. Yeah.
that aren't quite, there yet in their healing journey. You might want to leave those type of people alone.
Right. I mean, it's a real thing. Let me say this. I know we talk about mental health and things like that, but when you're dealing with people who are trying to live their best life, but they are going through something emotionally, going through this anxiety, depression, you don't want to push them to the edge, because when you push people like that, sometimes they snap back and you don't know what you're going to get into and how somebody's going to react. And I say that because I never really talked about my vitiligo, but I don't know. That relationship was toxic. But she would dig at me about stuff and dig about vitiligo, and there one day I said some things. I sure did. No, please forgive me, but I snapped, because you can't take but so much.
Right.
And so many comments and so many disrespectful comments and all this stuff. And finally I just let it all out. And I said what I needed to say. And at the end of that, I was like, I'm good.
That's what I tell people. I said, listen, I'm healing. I am not healed.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go. There you
Right.
go.
Mm-hmm.
And every new spot might be there's a new spot. So I gotta, figure this thing out again. And you don't want to push me. I mean, it's just a real thing with us. Now I'm gonna tell you something before we start wrapping up. It's kind of crazy. I personally don't celebrate Halloween, but I love to dress up. I'll dress up as a character in a heartbeat. I got my Stormtrooper costume in the closet, and tomorrow I'm gonna dress up as Captain America. But when I go into the section, Halloween section, and you see like the skeleton, I'll go up there like, I don't need no glove. I think it's fascinating when I look at my skin. I look at that skeleton glove. And I'm like, ooh, it looks like my hands. You know,
I'm gonna just give me a marker. We
yeah,
good over
that's it. That's it. But you know, it's those funny things. I feel like some of us can do. We can laugh about it. And I know there's some people that are not at a state where they can laugh about vitiligo and joke about it. Some of us can, you know, and that's why I'm at my life where, you know, I see things that are funny. I see things. Matter of fact, I was in walking through the toy aisle, and I can't remember which company it was. They had a little action figure with vitiligo. I was like, oh, that's cool. I bought it, then I took it back. I was like, I don't want this thing. I just bought it just because I had a vitiligo character. Let me put it back on the shelf. Let me bring it back to the store, you know. But we are becoming more noticed in mainstream society in all facets. You see pictures, you see still haven't seen too many movies with people with vitiligo. I
They're
don't
still
know.
figuring that out. I feel like they're still trying to do that the right way.
But
I
yeah,
do my favorite depiction on a big screen so far has been Domino.
yes,
I think that was done correctly. I think it was a subtle thing that was a really big thing.
Yeah.
And I like how they called attention to it without calling attention to it. That was masterfully done. But then you have, on the other hand, that movie with T.I.
T.I., oh gosh, that was the worst.
And then the Indian movie with the gloves and that clown. And it was just like, no, that's not it. That's not
right.
That's not what we want. Try again. Go back again. Try that again.
And maybe what it would take is a director with vitiligo to truly understand what it's like, you know, directing us. First of all, we're people,
or even just a consultant, because you guys get consultants for Black culture, for every other culture, for sports, for medicine, for law shows. You guys can get a consultant about anything else. There are plenty of people, myself included, who would be amazing at doing that and telling you this is good, this is terrible,
not good,
throw this in the trash, burn it. You know, but this is great. Like, we like this. You don't like this. Like,
and don't have us in the scene where we're just sitting on the beach like for hours. Come on now. But true. So people that are watching this, if you have some type of business and you need a consultant, feel free to reach out to us. We will be there to help you understand vitiligo, what it is, what it isn't, how to approach it. Because you cannot approach vitiligo the same way as any other condition. It is so unique in itself. And we can be very sensitive as a community, you know. And if you approach us wrong, then you're going to get people from over here, everybody from over here. And we're going to be like, yo, you can't do this with vitiligo. You can't talk to us like that. This is not how you represent us, you know. So we are I can't always say sensitive, but we will speak up when something's not right or done right. And just like the movie with T.I., when I saw that too, I was like, for real. So the bro man with fake vitiligo, because it looked very fake, like they just took paint.
It looked like pancake batter. It pissed me off. And it's like, you gave him vitiligo and made him the villain. Because just like they villainized mental health, and you a villain if you have because that's basically what villains were. They were people with mental health conditions. Like, bro, so you have essentially done the same thing with vitiligo. You had so many opportunities to educate. So many opportunities. You didn't have to make the movie about vitiligo, but then you could have sprinkled in. Like, I feel like I had that little forum about it, and we came up with 4 scenes in that movie that would have been seamless to slip in there and sprinkle that little bit of vitiligo education. For example, my favorite one is when they were looking at T.I.'s arrest record and stuff. There was a part that said identifying marks. You all
said vitiligo.
Said vitiligo on the face, and I would have been good with that. But you didn't even do that. There was no acknowledgement of it outside. He the bad guy. Right. That's awful. That's awful.
And there's one other TV show I was watching one day. It's some cop show, and this person must have had a Jessica cameo, but they sent Brother Man undercover. I'm like, hold on. I would have been like, oh, Chief. I know you want me to go undercover, But I can't because they're gonna be like, yo, dude with the hands, which one?
So apparently
Hands.
he used to be on the show and it
Yeah.
developed vitiligo. So he
Okay.
came there for the guest spot, and so they thought they was just gonna throw him back into the same role. It's like,
Undercover.
Jimmy, you gotta acknowledge that, please.
Yeah. I'm
You
sitting there
gotta-
like, yo, like I know, cause come on. If I saw him, I'd be like, you know the dude. Which one? What are we gonna say? The guy with the spots.
The guy with the
Yo,
white
he's a cop. How do you know? He on the force because I've seen him before. I mean, there's certain things about vitiligo that just wouldn't play out in the movie. To be real, as much as I like James Bond, I couldn't be James Bond. They'd be like, that's James Bond right there. How do you know? Vitiligo. Like, there's certain things we just
very
can't.
distinct. This is not
Yeah. Like, I know it was him. How? You turned the light out, his skin was going in the black light.
I think
That was
that's
him.
also funny. Do you get that too when people be like, yeah, I was trying to describe to somebody who you are and they figured it out. And it's like, you go ahead and say what you said. The one with the white spots.
Go ahead and say it. and you know they're trying to dance around it.
Yeah.
You know Mark, which one? Light skin Mark. Light skin Mark, yeah. With just say it.
Don't make me say it, but
Do
you
with
know
the
what
spots,
I'm
right? The
talking
white hands, right? Yeah.
It's like, just say it. Like it's kind of like when people use fat as a derogatory
Right.
term. Fat is fat. Like when people be like, oh, when people be like, well, you're not fat. When people say, oh, I look fat, oh, you look beautiful. I didn't say I was ugly. I said I was fat.
Right.
Okay, like there's nothing wrong with being fat. So, like, I feel like it's the same thing. If you say, yeah, Sharon that has the vitiligo, I'm fine with that. But if you say Sharon that got the jacked up skin, I'm gonna want to fight you.
There we go. I'm gonna thump you right in the eye. Bam, right there. but no, it that's something I do think about. Like at my school, how do they identify me? Well, because I know they can say Mr. Braxton. At one time, I was the only black male teacher at the school. Now we've got two. Well, one is an assistant, one is a PE coach. So, like when they say Mr. Braxton, the people go, "Which one's Mr. Braxton?" Did they say the slim light-skinned dude in third grade? Did they say the guy with the hands? Because a lot of people don't seem like they don't know how to say vitiligo. Vitiligo, people. Vitiligo. You can say it fast. Vitiligo. If you can't say it, say it fast. Vitiligo.
Little I go is little I go with a V. Vitiligo.
But no R in there. There's no R.
Ain't no R in there. And it's not vitiligo.
No.
Vitiligo. Okay.
Oh boy.
Long, we in school right now. The long accent mark. That's a macron. Ligo. Vitiligo. That's what you should do. See, if they put the macron, everybody knows LIGO.
Not vertigo. Don't mix it.
It's not vertigo.
No, it's not vertigo.
I don't. I've had vertigo. It sucks. But I've had both. I've had vertigo, vitiligo. Yes.
Oh gosh. Yeah, don't mix the two people. Take the R out, please. Just if you can't say it, just say the skin condition that takes away your melanocytes. It might be a long way of saying it, but until you learn how to say vitiligo, it's okay. But Sharon, we've been on for a minute, but this is how we do, and I'm glad you finally had the opportunity to come on.
Me too.
People don't know we've been playing this for a while, but life be life and things happen. But we are here. We're doing this. We've having some fun, cutting up a little bit. I needed this conversation. School is school, and our poor babies, y'all. Let me say this to y'all. Take care of your kids. Read to your kids. Read to your kids. Read to your kids.
Read to your kids.
Yes.
Please read to your kids.
And help them write. Please help our babies. They need help. But Sharon, I'm gonna ask you to leave us with some words of encouragement for anybody out there listening, and then I'm gonna wrap us up.
My words of encouragement are: your journey is your own. Don't let anybody tell you what the right way is to deal with your vitiligo. My philosophy is, if you are not harming yourself or others, I love it. Don't be in a rush. Take everything one step at a time. Understand that it is okay to be not okay. Understand that There'll be days that you'll be great, and there'll be days that you won't be so great, and there'll be days that you'll be both. It is part of the process. Best thing you can do is reach out to others, talk to others, connect with others. That's how I feel when it, I'm one of those people that didn't know that I needed a community. I thought I was dealing with it. I was not. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, as the great Michael Jackson once said, you are not alone. Guys, we don't have to go through this by ourselves, although we want to. And for my men out there, guys, please don't go through this by yourself. Reach out to a community or somebody. I mean, there's somebody out there who's willing to say, I'll walk with you. Yep. Somebody's out there. So our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Hey, y'all seeing a different side of me. I'm a little silly at times, a little crazy at times. Sharon has something else to say. I'm going to throw it back over to Sharon and then wrap us up.
Yes, I would like to throw in a very shameless plug, okay? Next year, I will be holding, Litty Ligo will be holding the first annual Beautiful Both Ways Celebration of You event in Stoughton, Massachusetts. We were an Insight Ingenuity Award winner. So this is the event that we're having. It is practically free. The tickets are donations. So if you want to donate $5, I'm fine with that. Whatever you got, that's fine. Everyone is welcome. We're going to have a bunch of different things. We're going to have stuff for everybody. The website that has everything that you need, accommodations and all of that, is littyligo.org/BBW. So please, please, please check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know how I can get you here for next year. It's all the way next year. That's why I'm trying to get it out there now. I want everybody there. You're going to take portraits. We're going to have basketball game. We're going to have roller skating. I'm very excited about it. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like listen, we are doing it big, and so, yeah, I want to make sure everybody knows about that. Check it out. And we're writing a book too. So come on.
So this I'm going to ask you to do, Sharon. Excuse me to my listeners. My voice is going. There we go. And I'm back. Things happen. I have allergies and my allergies are kicking in. So Sharon, make sure you give me all that information. I'll make sure it's into this. As people watching this video, they will see all that information, flyers, all that, how to reach you, about the book, all that stuff. All that good stuff will be here. You said roller skating. And I was like, yeah, I love the roller skate.
Okay. Yeah. The two things that I had to make sure were part of this event: basketball.
Roller skating. Yep. I knew basketball, but roller skating, I didn't know that. All right. That's cool. And for people that, let me say this before I wrap us up. BBW stands for Beautiful Both Ways. It ain't nothing sexual about it. Ain't nothing bad. Please don't go in there thinking, oh, they say BBW. It's beautiful both ways. Okay. Again, beautiful both ways.
I mean, there will be some BBWs there. I'll tell you that. But that's not what it's about. Not what it's about.
Right.
Not what it's about.
Oh boy. Yes. All right. For our listeners, viewers, all you people out there watching, look, I like to have fun, and I'm glad Sharon came on. So thank you for being here. And I thank you guys for out here watching this. Share this out to everybody. Share it to your friends, your family members, whoever. Tell them to check out the website that Sharon's going to have up there. Check out the podcast. Reach out to us if you need us to come on your shows, do whatever. We'll come out and talk about vitiligo. It doesn't matter. Although she's in one part of the country, I'm on the other part, we're still connected. It's all love. Speaking of love, I always end my shows this way. Make sure you love your kids, your spouse if you have one, your significant other if you have one. Said one. Notice that I said one. Love that person that just cut you off down the street, the one that you're trying to chase down in your car because you're mad about something. We don't know what people are going through. Your coworkers. Love your coworkers. They need love too. I mean, I know sometimes it can be a little challenging. Love your coworkers. But most of all, I say love your kids, love your kids. But most of all, look in that mirror and tell yourself I love you. We don't do enough of that. We don't look in that mirror and say, hey, Mark, I love you. Do that. Don't say, hey, Mark, I love you, because that's me. But look in the mirror and tell yourself I love you. All right? So Sharon, once again, thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank everybody out there for listening. You've been listening to and watching Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. Y'all take care. Peace. Oh yeah, don't get out of here.